When it comes to comic book fans absolutely winning every single month, I think nobody in comic books are winning harder than Green Lantern fans. If you remember, following the Robert Venditti, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps run, which is absolutely excellent. We got the Grant Morrison Green Lantern run. And I'll be honest, I still don't know what Grant Morrison wanted to do with Green Lantern. I just think he wanted to be weird. Then after that, we got Jeff Thorne's Green Lantern run. And while I know exactly what Jeff Thorne was going for, he botched the execution so badly. It was just a pile of smoking embers. They put Jeremy Adams on the book. He had done very good on Flash. He's done even better on Green Lantern. And as much as I love the Robert Venditti stuff, and Robert Venditti is my favorite writer, I think what he did on Green Lantern was absolutely awesome. The stuff Jeremy Adams is doing is somehow bigger. Like, it feels like it's just as big as all the stuff leading up to Blackest Night, the last great comic book event we ever got from Marvel or DC. And I am going to be doing a spotlight on why everyone should be reading Green Lantern right now, because it's so amazing. But DC Comics has declared things are not good enough for Green Lantern fans right now. We're going to win some more. Everyone's favorite members of the Green Lantern Corps are reuniting for a grand cosmic adventure in a brand new ongoing comic series. DC Comics keeps up the energy with its All-In initiative by bringing John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, and more together for what could be the most important mission of their lives. DC is expanding its Green Lantern franchise with a new volume of Green Lantern Corps. Cyborg co-writer Morgan Hampton joins Green Lantern writer Jeremy Adams for the series, along with artist Fernando Passarin and Eau Claire Albert. There you go. Not only is Jeremy Adams kicking so much ass on Green Lantern, he's getting the Aquaman kick. He's doing great on Flash Gordon as well. DC's like, you know what? We're going to give you a second Jeremy Adams Green Lantern book because it's so freaking good. We can't contain the amazing amount of story going on in the one book. It needs to be in two. And I couldn't be more excited about this. Normally, I like to have two different writers if you're going to have a couple of books with the same characters or core group of characters. But in this case, with what he's doing, it's so phenomenal and it's so good. I just want more of it. And I know we do get the name Morgan Hampton in there. A lot of you aren't going to be very familiar with Morgan Hampton. I think they might have been in the Milestone Initiative or whatever that thing was that they did like 3 years ago to discover some new talent. Morgan Hampton wrote the Cyborg miniseries, and it was absolutely terrible. But my assumption is Morgan Hampton's going to be doing the backup story with Eau Claire Albert on art. And I don't read DC backup stories anyway, so they're going to charge me an extra buck. But the Jeremy Adams story is going to be so good, I don't fucking care. And we are reuniting Jeremy Adams with Fernando Passarin, and Fernando Passarin was Jeremy Adams' artist on The Flash, which was absolutely amazing. And this story that somehow he just takes from, like I said, the steaming pile of shit embers that was Jeff Thorne's Green Lantern run, and he's pieced it together. Hal Jordan's good now. We got something interesting going on with Kilowog. We've got Carol Ferris doing this now. We've expanded this out. We've got this PKJ thing. And he just keeps building it up and taking all the broken pieces and putting them back together. And this is the strongest Green Lantern has been in like 5 years, perhaps even longer than that. I'm not overstating the fact that I think this is just as good as the Robert Venditti stuff, but it's so much bigger. The way that he's been building this out and the stakes that have been raised with Theros and the United Planets and all that stuff that Jeff Thorne was doing, but very, very badly, coming out as this enormous threat, and the way that the emotional spectrum has basically been broken into 1,000 pieces. And I couldn't be more excited. We are winning so much. It's not even funny. If you're a Green Lantern fan, thank your lucky stars, because Batman fans don't have it this good. X-Men fans certainly don't have it this good. Spider-Man fans, nowhere near this good. I would say even Energon fans don't have it this good. Hey, Transformers is great, and I really like G.I. Joe #1. Scarlet sucked. Destro was a throwaway book. Nothing throwaway about anything that Jeremy Adams really has done with Green Lantern. And I can't wait to do that spotlight and really get into some of the details. Why, if you're not reading this, you need to go back, read all 17 issues that have come out so far, the special, and get caught up and fully invest in this Green Lantern series. In the wake of Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum, John Stewart, Jess Cruz, Kyle Rayner, Guy Garner, Joe Mullen, Simon Baz, and Keely Quintella have come together to stop a dangerous new threat, the Fractal Lanterns, who could eliminate all sentient life in the DC universe. The Green Lantern Corps was taken over by the United Planets Lord Premier Theros, who used the Corps as a personal army rather than a peacekeeping force. Hal Jordan and John left in protest, and Theros overhauled the Green Lantern Corps, using its power to eliminate other factions in the emotional spectrum, such as the Red Lanterns and Star Sapphires. And those are the bare bones about all the things that are building up to this Green Lantern Corps series. And when we see the cover, you don't see Hal on there. I imagine Green Lantern is going to be specifically a Hal book, and Green Lantern Corps is going to be all the other characters, mostly led, my assumption is, by John Stewart, because as far as the other Lanterns go, he's the one that's got the most interesting stuff going on. There's like a weird Green Lantern energy version of his dead sister that's out there that's protecting people and doing weird stuff. And he's done a lot of really crazy stuff. He discovered the Dark Star ring in the Philip Kennedy Johnson War Journal series that not a lot of people were reading. So I imagine we're going to be getting a lot more of the John Stewart stuff. But he's doing a really good job mixing in the other characters. The things that he's doing with Kyle Rayner right now are really interesting. I love the voice that Jeremy Adams has for Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner's not my favorite character. Really, Robert Venditti is the writer that made me love Guy Gardner, at least to a degree, a lot more than I used to. But I do think Jeremy has really kept it up. We're finally seeing Jess Cruz brought back in the fold. For like 4 or 5 years, all Jessica Cruz could be was like a rogue Yellow Lantern or something like that. Like, she wasn't even treated like a member of the Corps. We see Simon Baz now. Really good to see that. And I even think what he's doing with Joe Mullins, once he kind of brought her back, he tried to throw her in the forefront. I think he realized that was a mistake. She's getting some moments, and he's actually building Joe Mullins up to where she's not the most insufferable Lantern of all time. And then Teen Lantern, he hasn't done a whole lot with her. She's been a plot element, but not really a character thus far. But I'll take it. I like Green Lanterns. I think there are far too many human Lanterns, and I do think there needs to be a culling of the herd. But that's not a Jeremy Adams thing. He didn't create any of these characters. He's working with what's going on with that, and with what he's done with the Jeff Thorne stuff and delivering this amazing story that's been going on, and then rolling it out and adding some more characters and developing them well. I think this is exactly what Green Lantern needs, because a lot of these Lanterns have become really throwaway. And the stuff that he's done with Theros is really, really big. And the way that the emotional spectrum has been manipulated and kind of torn apart and broken into little pieces has been really, really compelling stuff, And I remember when Scott Snyder tried to introduce like the ultraviolet Lanterns. Like, God, I understand what Jeff Johns did with the emotional spectrum was interesting. It was pretty neat. I think he did it very well. Maybe we shouldn't touch this if we're going with ultraviolet Lanterns, colors that you can't even see. And it was just so fucking stupid. But then you see with what Jeremy Adams is doing, okay, yeah, you can still mess with this stuff. You just have to have somebody that has good ideas. And these aren't just good ideas. These are fucking great ideas. In a moment, Green Lantern fans have been waiting for. The DC Universe's godlike White Lantern has finally made their triumphant return. Though rarely seen, its power was finally revealed during Blackest Night after Necron and the Black Lantern Corps attack on the DC Universe. Not long after Green Lantern's triumph over Necron, Kyle Rayner took it upon himself to master every light in the emotional spectrum, and in doing so, he became the first genuine White Lantern in the DC Universe and gained nearly godlike power. And here's a little taste on some of what Jeremy's doing. The White Lantern's back, as far as Green Lantern 17. Finally returned the very end of the issue. And we haven't seen that in a while. And Kyle Rayner is an important character to Green Lantern history and lore, and he's been thrown to the wayside because Hal Jordan, quite frankly, is the more popular Lantern right now. But there are a couple of generations of Green Lantern fans, and Kyle Rayner's their guy, and they never give him a spotlight. He had this awesome role as the White Lantern, and it was just kind of taken away from him, not really explained very well. He's just sitting there languishing, and finally they have it on him. And with all the stuff that's going on with the emotional spectrum, and I won't go into all the details, it's literally driving him mad because he's in tune with all of them. And the fact that they're all being manipulated, all being destroyed and kind of fractured and all that stuff all at the exact same time, it's literally driving him mad. And I want to see what he's going to do as the White Lantern. Is to become all of a sudden this big, enormous threat? Is he going to be able to come in and save the day? Is he going to ruin things because he can't control his own emotions at this point? Because he's been so totally screwed with everything that Theros and the United Planets have been doing. It's really exciting stuff. And if you've been waiting for Kyle Rayner to return as the White Lantern, it fucking happened last week. And it's really, really good. Now is the time. Actually, 6 months ago was the time. Actually, a year ago was the time to jump on the Jeremy Adams Green Lantern bandwagon. But there's still time left. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff. We've just been setting this stuff all up for the last year and a half, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and every payday gets better and better and better. And I couldn't be more excited about this, and I'm very excited to talk about that spotlight. Unfortunately, we had some technical details that I've had to push a couple of projects back. Haven't got to do that, or the Space Ghost spotlight. Another series that I did get to spotlight was Conan the Barbarian, and I think a lot of people enjoyed that video. I think a lot of people are enjoying Conan the Barbarian, and I would say Conan fans are the second biggest winners in comic books these days. And now, announcing Conan the Barbarian, Scourge of the Serpent for Free Comic Book Day 2025, the Serpent God's influence tightens its coils around the Hyborian Age and every other age linked to it. The newest epic Conan event begins here. We're getting a second Conan event in 2025. I love the way that Titan Comics are doing their Conan series. You get Conan the Barbarian from Jim Zub with Roberto De La Torre, Doug Braithwaite on art, and it's a fantastic series. One of the best series in all of comic books. The best value in all of comic books is Savage Sword of Conan, a black and white, comic book magazine size type thing with, I think, 80 pages in that thing. You get 5 or 6 stories. You get lots of different prose and poems and certainly all types of pinups and stuff like that. But we're also getting a Conan event every year. And right now we're in, Battle of the Blackstone, which is about to end. And apparently they've already set up the next one for next year. It's like the perfect size. You get your one awesome book. You get this great value with a bunch of extra stuff related to it. And then you get your big kind of team up Conan book every single year. And I think it's the perfect amount of everything. Just wanted to throw that in there as a bonus about how great it is to be a Conan fan right now as well. It's been so good. And Jim Zub just really has a voice for the character and what Robert E. Howard set up with the Hyborian Age, and even going back to like the Thurian Age and stuff like that with some of your other characters like Cole and Mercy and Solomon Cade and Black Agnes and all that stuff. And it's just been so much fun. And I love being excited for comic books. Marvel and DC don't always give that to me. I'm certainly getting it with Green Lantern Corps. I'm not getting it a whole lot of other places where they're just like, oh, I got to get into this. But I'm certainly getting it with Conan. I am getting it with Energon. I'm certainly getting it with Ghost Machine. And there's a lot of really exciting stuff coming down, especially in the last half of 2025. And I hope you're enjoying this as well. That's why we do Best of the Week. Say, hey, there's some garbage out there, but this is the stuff you need to be reading. And we have been singing the praises of Green Lantern and Conan for well over a year and a half now. I hope you guys have been on the wagon and you're excited for Green Lantern Corps, Jeremy Adams, a second Green Lantern book, as well as another Conan event spinning out in 2025. I'm on cloud 9 right now. I don't know which one's better. Okay, I know which one's better. It's Green Lantern. Oh, no, it's Conan because, I don't know which one's better. I can't decide. It's like, what is it, Rosemary's Baby? I probably got that completely screwed up. I think that was actually like a horror movie. I think it's more like Sophie's Choice. I think that's what it is. I can't decide which one's more exciting, but I'm very excited for both. If you like what we're doing here on Think Critical YouTube, talking about the comic book industry, not only the stuff that's absolutely working, which we did today, but the stuff that isn't working, and you'd like to support our mission here, I do hope you come visit me on Think Critical Patreon. There's a link in the video description. We got lots of extra podcasts, videos, polls, lots of things going on in the Thinking Critical comic book community, but on Patreon, lots of fun stuff happening there. Hope to see you very, very soon.